Life flows on the river of purpose. We're all carried by the uncertainty of its own unfolding. Chasing purpose is all about nurturing faith, setting intentions, pursuing aspirations, all while living boldly. Chasing Purpose aims to inspire, uplift, and empower people through real-life stories. Stories that encapsulate life's memorable moments and enduring life lessons. Chasing Purpose with host Cynthia Shea.
Lift every voice and sing. A hymn created in the early 1900s spoke to and in the spirit of Black people. It has always been and remains a favorite song for me to sing. I was first introduced to it in middle school, and even at that early age, it was impactful. Dubbed the Negro National Anthem in 1919 by the NAACP, there was just something about the lyrics that made me feel empowered. I would always sing at the top of my voice during school assembly or in church. Written and composed by the Johnson brothers, the lyrics melodiously tell the story of the plight of Black people, their demand for justice, equality, liberation, and the love and pride they had for a country that did not love them back. The hymn anthem provided an outlet for Black people to raise their voices in song, speak loudly and boldly in unison of the collective concerns and the ideals and optimism for a better tomorrow. In some ways, Lift Every Voice and Sing was my first teachable moment, allowing me to use my voice in a society that over time exposed me to things that would see me turning the volume on my voice down and shrinking, even shrinking to fit into its ideals. We are often afraid to speak up because of the fear of being judged, alienated, or even ostracized by others. When we don't speak our truth, we alienate ourselves. As a child, have you ever had an instance where you tried to speak up in the class and were silenced by your teacher? Sometimes your parents say you chat too much, the report card comes home too talkative, or you were punished for it. How will we be heard if we don't speak up? We were given a voice for a reason. Our voice is a God-given tool. No two voices are the same. We are all unique and we have different voices, which makes it of utmost importance for us to use ours. Finding your voice will help you to navigate your way through life. It will also help you to express what you're feeling, your likes, your dislikes, your passions, and ultimately your purpose. Welcome to Chasing Purpose, a journey of self-development, self-love, healing, and spirituality. Our aim is to empower and uplift you through thought-provoking conversations surrounding our four pillars: nurturing faith, pursuing aspirations, setting intention, all while we are living boldly. On last week's show, we were joined by the co-founder of Mind Food International, Nastasia Wright, who shared some gems on the topic, trusting the process. Here is this week's Purpose Pull.
We all need faith. Although I was going through all of this, although I was living in poverty, although I saw other people just not living well, I had to believe that my future would be different.
Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Chasing Purpose with Cynthia Shea Clark. There you will find all of our episodes. Also join our community at purposeiswithin.com, purposeiswithin.com. Today we look at the topic, finding your voice. Our candid conversation continues with entertainment executive, television and film producer, and daughter of reggae royalty, Mr. Jimmy Cliff, and no stranger to using her voice, Miss Odessa Chambers. Odessa, how are you?
Can we say sound the big thing?
Yeah, yeah, sound the big thing. Odessa's in the building. Odessa, how are you?
I'm good.
Welcome to Chasing Purpose.
Yay, I'm happy to be here with you, Cyn.
We are no stranger to each other. Years in the business. Odessa and I have known each other. So, and I'm happy you're here. And talking about finding your voice, because Odessa is one that is, her personality is one that she is vocal. She's going to tell you like it is. She's shooting from the hip, all right? Finding one's voice suggests that it was once lost along one's journey. Do you agree?
No, I don't agree. I think that your voice is still there. It's always inside of you. So I just don't think the voice is ready to be said or to come out.
Yes.
So it's a no for me.
So it's almost like your voice is becoming then, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I like that. I like that. As children, we're bold, unapologetic, and unashamed, even unafraid coming into the world. But somewhere along the way, we're conditioned out of using our voice or even self-love. Why do you think that is?
Starts with schooling, it starts with home, family, depending on your family dynamic. It depends on at school as well, your school dynamic, where that bold person is told to be quiet or shut down or something like that. But for me, I never had that issue. My mother is a person who's always told me to march to my own drum, be uniquely myself. My father's always said, I'm a princess, I'm a queen, you know, so I've always been, I was telling your producer, you know that picture where you have the cats in a row and they say there's always that one sister and the rest of the sisters are poised and I'm that.
Yeah.
That's me, basically.
Same.
So I've always been that person. Everybody that knows me, it's the same Odessa from school up to now. I've never changed. I've always said, be true to yourself. And when I mentor a few young girls, I always tell them the same thing. Don't change, be yourself. Don't let what society tells you or depicts to you who you should be or how you should be. But then there's certain things that, you know, you have to...
Yeah.
Like I can't swear right now, so I have to be told, you know,
restraining herself.
There's certain things you can't do because it's just it's the rules and it's law. But just be unique, just be true to yourself. I don't think people need to be cowed down.
Be true to yourself. I think that's going to be a common thread throughout this conversation. Being true to yourself. But you talked about society. Do you think that society plays a part in a person's ability to find their voice?
Yes, now it does, especially we're in the digital age right now and social media, like it's so hard for millennials. Like we grew up in Gen X. Yeah, I'm a proud Gen X. I'm old as dirt. But we could just go out and do whatever we wanted to do without nobody taking pictures of you, nobody telling you, you know, you've got to look this way, you've got to have your makeup this way, you've got to be overtly sexual, you've got to be this, that. We were just free to do what we wanted to do. Now, younger people, they don't have that voice. They're so programmed by algorithms to tell them that they need to be this, they need to be that, they need to do this, they need to do that. You know, it's cool to be this, you know, when really it's not. Everything is programmed. So it's a lot hard. I really, before I used to sometimes I curse them, you millennials, you know, you millennials. But it's hard. It's really hard for them.
You know, as you say that, it is hard for them. I wasn't even thinking of it from that perspective where we growing up, we didn't have the phone in our
attached
hand.
To us.
No, I think when I went to the first computer class I took, it was the you know, the back of the computer was big and long, and the screen was like the letters were green.
Green, exactly.
Yeah, we didn't have the ability to just kind of quickly. Even filters, we didn't have those things. We were real deal. It was real deal Holyfield for us. It was as we came.
That's how
that's how you get us. So I do believe that. Yeah, these kids, they have it.
It's hard.
They have it hard. Where we think, you know, with information and the accessibility to the phone, it's a little bit easier. But no, it is.
And everything is fast, and everything is, it's fast. So they don't have time to just be, just to be, and just to be their self, to be themselves, and to actually get to wait for that voice to just jump out and find it. You know, they're just programmed. Yeah. Like programmed, very programmed.
Do you think that the narratives out there and limiting beliefs placed on youth growing up cause them to not find their voice or to dim their voice?
Yeah, I like the word dim.
Yeah.
Because, you know, some families have grown into different religions as well.
Yeah.
You know, there's some kids who are, Jamaica's society is very Christian, and they tell you need to be this way and you have to be this way. Or there's some kids that grow up in the Rastafarian religion and they're taught to do this, and they're taught, you know, it's the same scenario. I grew up in both a bit of Christianity and Nation of Islam, but at the same time, my mom still said, you have to be you. Even though she was a part of the Nation of Islam, she was still herself. And that's one thing that Minister Farrakhan really loved and respected about her, because she was still her. You couldn't mold her to be like that. And she took that same essence of that and molded it into me and to my brother as well.
Christianity and Islam. Did you find any similarities at all in the religion? Two very different.
I mean, I went to church. I had to go to church because my mother still wanted me to have discipline. Up to age 16, 17, I still went to church every Sunday with my grandmother. And also there was just certain Pan-African and Nation of Islam beliefs that was installed into me through my mother growing up in the UK as well. So it's discipline. Both of them is to do with discipline at the same time, but it wasn't. And I think with the Nation of Islam, for me, and with that, it also taught me to, when you're kind of fully clothed, it makes you think, it makes you use your mind a bit more and have more of a personality, per se, that your sexuality is you. Yes. You know what I'm saying? So that I think when I'm thinking back to me as a child, I can remember, you know, I've always been kind of conservative, to put it that way. So I think, I don't know if it's to do with religion or church or whatever, but that's just kind of been me.
Growing up, were you able to freely express yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah. No limits.
Yeah. There's stories that I can't really say.
Give us a limited version.
No, like, you know, I'm really weird. I remember one time I realized it's a sexual thing. I woke up and I was just like, yo, to my brothers, I have great breasts. I have great breasts. And I was just like, and my brothers were like, yes, you have great breasts. I'll put on your clothes. Or, you know, I'm just me. I've never changed. I don't think you should cow down or, you know, cut off a child's ability to be themselves. Because, you know, when your parents say that they know you, even though you're mature now, and your parents will be like, no, well, you were like that. They saw that inner voice inside. They saw that from you from when you were young.
Yes.
So when they're saying that they know you, now you don't know me because I'm older now, they do actually, because that same personality of freedom of that person has always been inside of you. So, yeah.
Parents, I know I appeal to you guys a lot on the show, but it is important that, and not just parents, anybody that is raising a child, that's mentoring, it is important that we are allowing our children to express themselves, right? Allowing them to voice their opinions and their concerns, giving them that safe space so that they can they feel comfortable sharing with you. Because as they grow, one, you'll have that relationship, and two, when society begins to place beliefs on them, when the internet begins to send them certain messages, they will be sure within themselves about their voice, because you would have already empowered them with allowing them to find their voice. When we come back, more with Odessa Chambers on Finding Your Voice. Welcome back to Chasing Purpose, heard right here on the Bridge 99 FM in Jamaica and in the New York tri-state area on Irie Jam Radio. We are talking about finding our voice and using our voice, being bold with our voice, voicing our concerns and our opinions no matter what, and not dimming that voice, right? The inner voice, the voice in our heads, our vocal voice, not dimming it. We are joined by producer, entertainment executive. She's been in the industry forever. Odessa Chambers.
We're back again.
Odessa, do you think honesty and authenticity play a part in finding your voice?
Yes, it does.
Yes.
Yeah. It's important. It's important to be uniquely and authentically yourself.
Yes.
You know, as I say, we've been saying before, be true to yourself. And I think, again, like, I'm in the entertainment business and I'm looking, I must have tweeted last week, why do all the dancehall and female rappers all look the same. Nobody's unique anymore. Everybody has the same weave, wigs, makeup, lashes, outfits, everything. And they even sound the same. And there's nobody that you can just pluck out and say, that person is, I like that person. That person stands alone like Stone Love, you know?
Is it that they're finding the need to conform to what society is putting out there, the box?
Yeah, they're putting them all in a box.
Yeah.
Because even our dancehall female artists were unique and they had their own thing, but now everybody, they look like rappers, like how the cookie cutter female rappers are looking right now. There's no difference between this female artist and that female artist from that genre anymore. Everybody looks the same and sounds the same somewhat.
That's food for thought. That's a whole nother show. But again, we were talking off camera about having to fit into certain societies. You know, whether it be a workplace, whether it be Hollywood or whatever, we're having to adjust our voice and who we are to fit into these ideals. And I think that is a root cause of persons not really wanting to be vocal, not really wanting to share, because they're afraid of where they would be placed, how people would look at them, how they would be judged. You know, I think that is a root cause as to why where persons are not being vocal enough, I think.
People are afraid to be vocal because we have cancel culture now.
Cancel.
So if you're vocal, oh, you can't say that because this sponsor might say, you know, blah, 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 blah. Oh, you can't say that because this group of community or this community group might, you know, blah, 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 blah. You can't be yourself. It's like everybody's afraid to just, and not in a horrible way, because, you know, there's vicious and malicious people out there, but you just can't say how you feel anymore.
Is cancel culture a thing here in Jamaica?
You know, I don't really know, because, you know, we do it for 2 weeks and then it just, you know, I don't think it's the same.
It doesn't have the sticking power, the lasting power. As in,
I like to cancel some of the taxi man them on the road, but that's
again,
for another
that's a whole nother
conversation.
Have you ever shied away from voicing your opinion or giving your concern?
Sometimes I just bite my tongue and allow it.
Really?
Sometimes you do have to drink your water, mind your business, and just keep yourself to yourself, because it doesn't make any sense.
But do you think in drinking your water and minding your business, you somehow begin to dim the voice?
No. There's a time and a place for everything.
True.
So it's just sometimes it's not the time to say that. You know, sometimes it's better to say things to somebody in person. Sometimes not have Twitter fingers because people take things the wrong way. You know, just if you're honest and open about certain situations, it's better to just deal with that person or thing face to face, you know.
Communication is another thing that I think is lacking, because we're in a society where it's I'd rather send you a text or a voice note instead of picking up the phone to verbally speak to you. I think that also plays a part in us not really wanting to speak and express ourselves, because we can just easily do it like this. And then 9 times out of 10, you know, whenever I send a text, especially if I'm passionate about something, the tone may be received wrong. The inability for you to understand what I'm saying or take things the wrong way also, I think, is a huge problem in communication. But in finding one's voice, how critical is good communication?
So important. It's so important, but I think, again, I'm going back to generations. Like, I think we did something on Daytime Live about ghosting. And I think it's a generational thing, because millennials tend to not want to tell you, like if they messed up on something, they would hide instead of just coming out and just owning it and saying, yo, I'm sorry, I did this, my bad, whatever. Or, you know, calling that person and just being honest, if it was a relationship or guy or a girl, saying, you know what, it's not going to work out, but I love you dearly, blah, blah, blah. It's about, what do you call it? Overcoming your fear, you know, just owning it, just stepping into it and just saying, yo, I'm face to face. I don't think people are afraid so much of face to face interaction. And that's because we're texting and we're in a digital age now. Like, I was dating a couple of guys and I found like it's not working because this dude is just talking to me on text, and I'm like, I can't do that. That's not my thing. Like, let's get on the phone, let's meet in person, let's grab a drink, or let's, you know, something. Like, I can't do this, you know.
I think that you're right. It is a generation thing. Although I am finding that I'm falling into the trap of, instead of me picking up the phone to call, I'd rather send you a WhatsApp.
Is it time?
Is it
is it something to do with your time?
It could be, or I mean, I just constantly going, and I'm just so used to doing this, you know. And these children, the millennials, and you talk about cancel culture, you talk about ghosting. It's easier to ghost than to confront.
But it's a cop out.
Yes, it is. Oh, absolutely.
And it's selfish.
Oh, absolutely.
And just get some kahunas and like face your fears, man up.
Yeah, absolutely. I believe in face your fears. Whatever that is, face your fears, because you're going to be better for it.
And it's another one, it's finding your voice.
And and you're finding your voice. What is the importance of finding one's voice?
Because once you find your voice, you're really gonna just take a breath and be like, I am me.
Yes.
I am me, and you feel like this whole weight's just gonna come off your shoulders, and you're just gonna be free.
And we're not talking about the actual voice box that you hear, or the tones or the inflections. We're talking about representing you, the authentic you, the true you, the good, the bad, the ugly, the scarred, the bruised you. There is so much power in finding that voice, in knowing that voice, in sharing that voice. I think a lot of us, maybe even in our generation, I know for a fact, in our parent generations, there was no such thing as you using your voice for what?
Can't do that. You have to be non-emotional, get on with it, just...
I think it's in our generation where we are, and even certainly in the millennials now, that they're
vocal for certain things. For certain things, not. They're vocal for would you call it activism?
Activism, yes.
And again, sometimes that's programmed from social media, from seeing other people being activists, and it's cool to be an activist when really they're not taking on that role for themselves or kind of even for their communities, because, you know, there's things that are going on in your small community that you're not so about, but anything in foreign to be cool,
popular. That's why you see so much of these cultures coming up. The Me Too movement, the cancel culture, all these things, serious things, you know, serious things
that are supposed to be spoken.
Things that are supposed to be spoken about. But when you are using your voice, make sure you're being authentic about it. You're not joining the masses. I'm being told I have to go to a quick commercial break. That was quick. More with Chasing Purpose and Odessa Clark when we come. Odessa Clark.
Yes, I am Odessa.
She is an Odessa Clark. More with Odessa Chambers when we get back.
Yay.
Welcome back to Chasing Purpose. We are talking about finding our voice, not just finding our voice, but exercising our voice, knowing who we are, being our authentic self. We are joined by Odessa Chambers, who is a talent producer, film producer, TV producer, has played many hats in the music industry. You've been in media for some time.
A long time.
So finding your voice in your space. Has it been? Have you ever felt you needed to dim your voice?
No.
To fit in? No.
Why should I? Why should a black woman's voice be dimmed?
Oh, I mean, I can give you a million and one reasons as to why society
They want it to,
would want it to be dimmed. Yeah.
No. I shall never dim my voice. I shall always talk the things and be true. And if people don't like it, they can lump it.
Don't like it, they can lump it. You say you mentor young females, right? Have you ever come across anyone who felt like they couldn't voice their opinions, or they felt like their voice was stolen?
No, it's like I can see that person's voice wants to come out, and I just pull it out of them, and then I want them to be empowered, and I want them to be themselves. So no, I've never had that problem with somebody. I just kind of pull it out of them a little bit.
In what way? What are some steps you would take?
Basically just how you talk to them, guide them, let them feel that they are smutty. You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't care where you come from. You could come from the country, you could be an uptown girl, you could be from the inner city. I just want to empower more young women. And that's not just here, that's where I'm from in the UK. I took a trip to Africa, and it was my first trip to Ghana, my first trip to Africa, period. And it was an ancestral calling and very spiritual. And I wasn't there just to party. I just wanted to sit there and talk with people and women and children and just hear them and hear their stories and their voices and stuff. And the trip to Ghana as well also opened up me to find another voice, you know what I mean? And tap in more of my spiritual side of who I am. And that's something that I teach some of the girls who I mentor to tap into your spiritual side, because where we are in this world right now, we've gone through a pandemic, and if you don't find that spiritual calling or that spiritual self, you're going to go mad. You're really going to go mad.
It is important to anchor yourself.
And it's not religion.
No.
Yeah, because some people think spiritual and religion is the same thing.
No, ma, we're talking about just anchoring yourself, being accountable to whatever that higher being is, that is within you. That anchoring yourself is important. You said something that jumped out to me. I think you said something about letting them be heard. Letting them be heard. A lot of people aren't heard. A lot of females feel, and males feel like they are unable to be heard. Right? They're speaking, they're using their voice, but the persons who they're speaking to aren't hearing them. So just as important in as finding your voice, listening. Someone actually gathered me the other day. Okay, my edges were snatched because they said, and this is my truth, that I need to listen more.
Because you're an alpha female, and I get that sometimes. And as I've grown older now, I do tend to listen a little bit more than, you're an alpha and you're a leader, and that's, sorry guys, but that's the personality that Sin is. So you're always like on it, and you don't have time to stop and just smell the roses and listen sometimes.
But it is in that stopping and smelling the roses. When I tell you that it was a lesson learned, I'm talking about just last week this happened to me, okay? And I've been as Odessa said, I've been on it for many years, at least a decade. But when they said you need to listen more, I was taken aback, but in a good way. I'm like, what if I did listen more? So much things it would actually empower my voice too. When I hear what people are saying, what the concerns are, for anybody out there. The same way you need to find your voice, you also need to listen. How does vulnerability, or should your vulnerability play a part in staying true to your voice?
Yes, it should. But sometimes I don't, this vulnerable thing has come up a lot with black men and black women of late. They, society or they think that we shouldn't, because we're taught not to be so vulnerable. And I don't think it's intentional. I think that it's uniquely something of us as Africans that we just get on with it. And sometimes it's just not, sometimes you're not supposed to let everything out, because people can take that, twist it, and use it to manipulate you. So it depends on who you're vulnerable to, I believe.
I'm conflicted about that very thing. Growing up, if your family had an issue, somebody had an issue, you kept it within, you don't talk about it because you don't want nobody to, because you would have been judged. That was the consensus. You're going to be judged, ostracized. But I believe that in sharing those things, in being vulnerable, that is where the true power is, I think there's such strength in being vulnerable. It is not seen, I don't view it as a weakness.
No.
It is something that even in finding your voice, I can tell you this, the young girl that was empowered by Lift Every Voice and Sing, allowed society and whatever happened to just dim her voice. And it's not until just recently that I'm as I sit here before you on episode 70, whatever this is, on Chasing Purpose, that I'm now realizing that, wait a minute, girl, you've had this voice here, amplify it, use it. And it came when I worked through my vulnerabilities. It came when I worked through whatever the hurt and the pain was. But in that working through and being vulnerable and kind of raw and that wound open is when I really thought, this is your voice. That's your voice. That's your inner you. That's your inner you coming out. So I believe that in sharing your vulnerability, you do. It's like you add a little bass.
Your little healing of yourself.
Yes,
as
you add a
well.
little bass to the voice. Then share a time with us where you've been vulnerable.
I'm vulnerable all the time. I'm vulnerable right now being in front of the camera because I'm not used to. For a long time, I haven't been in front of the camera. Your director will know that. I'm vulnerable at certain times. There's certain things that I won't talk about, but as I said, I will choose my circle of people to be vulnerable with.
And with,
because I don't think, again, everything is for everybody publicly. And because I'm a public figure and a daughter of a public figure, it's a little different for me. I have to keep certain things stum, as we say in London. But it's good to be vulnerable, but you have to choose the time and the place because, as I said, the world is so weird now, and people will take certain things that you're being vulnerable to that specific person and use that as a weapon to destroy you sometimes. So it's a balance type of situation.
You're right. It is a balance. But one, I want to thank you for the transparency because, I'm vulnerable right now sitting mind you, I know Odessa forever, however, but I have butterflies. It's because this is all new, coming in front of the camera with the lights and the, everybody staring at us. And
if we had our wine and we were drinking, we'll be different and we're just between each other. Then it's a lot different.
But where there are times when I think you're right. When you have it's important to have that accountability crew, that crew where you're able to express, be your most authentic self. You can cry, you weep, you're happy, you rejoice. And those are the persons that you're vulnerable with, because those are the people that are going to allow you to also help you to find that voice. So find those crew. And it doesn't have to be a whole heap of people. It could be one person, but find, if you're struggling to find that voice, if you're struggling to identify who you really and truly are, be vulnerable with someone, with that one person that you trust, and that will allow your voice, that will help to strengthen up you finding your voice. All right, I'm told that we're going to a commercial break again. I'm not sure how we got to so much commercial break, but I'm all for it. The bills are being paid, honey.
Money I spend, yeah.
More Chasing Purpose when we come back right after these messages. Welcome back to Chasing Purpose. My purposers, we need to have a behind the scenes of what happens when the cameras are off, honey. All right, we are back and we're talking about finding our voice, not dimming our light. And if your light was dim, if you felt, for whatever circumstances, you feel like you're unable to express yourself, if you're unable to understand or hear or let that inner voice out, we're here for you. Odessa's here for you.
That's right.
She's dropping gems, okay? We are here. We're talking about finding our voice. Odessa, again, welcome to Chasing Purpose.
Thank you, Sam.
Have you ever felt yourself? Have you ever placed limitations on yourself?
No. I'm boring, right? Because I'm like...
You're far from boring, Odessa.
No, I don't limit anything. I put my mind to something. I'm going to go for it, and I'm going to set it, and I'm going to keep it. It was really nice to hear my dad speak to me and say, one thing about you, you have stuck to everything that you say you're going to do, and you do it. You're also a straight shooter, but I love you for that. He loves me for that. And nothing, I put in my mind, as I said, I speak to my PA, Christine, a lot, and I say nothing is hard. Just saying your mind is easy. And once you program your mind to say it's easy, it's going to be easy to get through certain things.
Mindset.
Yeah,
it comes back to mindset.
Important.
Yeah, mindset. And even in finding your voice. So let's go back to what Dad said. Yeah, that you're a straight shooter. That was, you were empowered to be, right. And them and your parents pouring into you, allowing you to be vocal, allowing you to express yourself. It garnered in you what in your mind and with your experiences that, look, I'm going to tell you like it is. They allowed you that the ability to do so. A lot of parents don't, because the minute you start talking, the minute you start giving opinion, okay? My
dad likes my opinion, especially when he's recording or he's doing songs. He would prefer to ask me.
Dad, by the way, is
Mr. James Chambers, aka Jimmy Cliff, aka Daddy.
Daddy.
Just Daddy.
Yeah.
But when he's recording and he's like playing something, he'll give it to me to listen to out of my other siblings, because he knows he's going to get an honest opinion. And I will give him constructive criticism as well of how it can, maybe sing a little octave down, or maybe you do this, or blah, blah, blah. But I'm not going to say, yay, it's great because it's Daddy. It's important to him to have somebody who's
be honest
in his family.
And give the constructive criticism, because a lot of times, as we talk about finding our voice or, dimming our light or our voice, we get constructive criticism. And because of how we receive it, right? Maybe the person means us well, but how we receive it allows us to kind of now no longer share.
It comes with age though,
Yes.
When you're younger, you're more, what comes with age. Now I listen a little bit more and, okay, why did that person say that? Or why did that person react that way to something I said to them? Maybe they're going through this, or maybe I have to open up and think about how I can change my approach to doing things with people. So, it's it.
Important. What steps have you put in place to ensure that you maintain your ability to express yourself?
I don't know. Weird question.
Just do.
Yeah. Just do.
Yeah. There's no framework or roadmap. You just do.
Maybe because when I was young, I was just organized, and I just, my mother says I'm very, what's that word? I can't even remember. It's not only just organized, but I just know exactly what I'm going to do. Now, she's organized me, you organize yourself in the night before you go to your bed. You know what you're going to do, what you're going to say, you do your to-do list, you do, so I just do now. It's just programmed in my way of and I have a method of madness, In
that just doing, right? And again, this goes back to how you were raised. So mom would have organized you, so you took that along with you along your journey. You're now an adult, so you are able to kind of just shoot from the hip. You know what you want, you go for it. You take your risk, you aim, you go. A lot of people do not have that. A lot of people, they don't even know whether they're going or coming.
That's because they haven't found themselves. And they don't know who they are. There's a lot of empty vessels walking around that are trying to be people who they're not. And again, it goes back to social media and how we're programmed. You know, you have to.
And even before social media, no, it's how we're rearing the children in the home, right? And things that would have happened to them along the way. But you're so right. There are a lot of empty vessels out there that really need to be filled, that really need to be poured into and nurtured. So that's why I commend you for nurturing and mentoring young girls. Something that I think we all need to, whether it be here in Jamaica, in the States, wherever in the world. If you have a way to add value to someone, even if it's one person, a way to help them to find their voice. Right. I think that's very, very, very important. Let me ask you, how can you get rid of self-doubt to live in your true purpose?
How can you get rid of self-doubt to live in your true purpose? For though I'm just trying to think.
Let me reframe that. Let me reframe that. Self-doubt. Has self-doubt ever stopped you from living in your purpose?
Sometimes. My self-doubt, will be like working out. It's just the working out. It's like, I don't even know that self-doubt. I just think it's lazy. I'm just being lazy. And I just need to get my ass up and just get to the gym. Or
Honesty
get my
and
ass
transparency,
up and
we're here for it. Honesty,
you know what
and
I'm saying?
transparency,
And it's just since I've got older, maybe the pandemic or whatever, but I don't have any self-doubt in myself or my abilities to do what I want to do. I know I am here to do what I want to do. I know my ancestors who speak to me on a regular, I'm getting emotional now, I know I'm here to do something. I know I have a purpose.
Yeah, and I was going to ask you, are you chasing that purpose? Have you found that?
I've never stopped.
Yeah.
And we're still going to continue chasing our purpose until it's God's calling, inshallah, God's will, you know? Yeah. So, that's my purpose.
Yeah. Where can our audience find you?
On YouTube, on any platform, podcast platform, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, but the visual aspect is on YouTube.
What's the
Reasonings with Odessa podcast? Yeah.
Standing in your own authenticity, knowing who you are at your core, the good, the bad, the hurt, the pain, the wins, the lessons, and the blessings. Your raw truth is where your power and your purpose lie. Find your truth, speak your truth, share your truth. Apply these things and you will find your voice. As always, sow seeds others can benefit from, wishing you love, life, and purpose.